Hello students, we know we are 5 months away from the examination, that is Prelims 2025. Now in that context, how to go about a foolproof strategy to qualify Prelims examination. And one such methodology is the 5-layered approach to qualify Prelims examination. When we look at this 5-layered approach to qualify Prelims examination, the first layer will fundamentally constitute the basics, that talks about the concepts, that talks about the knowledge. And once you have this basic layer, we have the application layer, where in subjects like science and technology we apply the basics that we learn. In subjects like economy we learn the basics that we learn, or we apply the basics that we learn. And not only that, we also observe in some of the subjects like geography we apply the basics that we learn. So the second dimension is the application layer, which is extremely important. The third aspect that you have to understand is the layer of current affairs. And many people think that this layer of current affairs means by-hearting the facts from the current affairs. But when we observe the UPSC way of questioning current affairs, we see that it is majorly looking at the extrapolated dimension of the current affairs. It is looking at the extended static of the current affairs. So that current affairs layer has to be taken care. Rather than the factual base, I would say it is the extrapolation which is important in this layer. And the current affairs may be approximately from 1 to 1.5 years. That is one dimension. Once we finish this, which is the third layer, in fact, all of these 3 layers would constitute the knowledge dimension. You acquire the basic knowledge, you be ready with the basic knowledge, you revise this basic knowledge, and from there, when you move to the next dimension or the next layer is what is talking about the techniques. You have to understand, here techniques is not merely a kind of mechanism where you perform certain magical aspects with respect to the question. But techniques are centered around pattern. Techniques are centered around understanding the pattern of questioning. Techniques are centered around understanding the common sense behind the subject. Techniques are centered around understanding the generalizations which are existing with respect to each of the subject. And once you understand this techniques layer, which is the 4th layer, which is important. Why? Because when some dimension of the knowledge is not being applied in the exam, then we apply the techniques perspective. It is not a magical act, rather it is more derived from the practice, derived from the pattern, derived from the understanding, derived from the generalizations. And once we have this layer, the final layer that we have to understand with respect to qualifying prelims examination is practice. Why? Because that is test. This is the place where we apply the knowledge, this is the place where we apply the techniques, this is the place where we apply the generalizations and get ready for this examination. All of these have to be done in the next 5 months. If you miss any of this layer of this, you would be missing your train to mains examination. You have to understand each layer of this examination, each layer of your strategy, each layer of your preparation is going to take you closer to the cutoff. And all of these layers we will be covering as part of high impact revision for Prelims 2025. So ensure that you are following each layer in a layer by layer approach. Basic, application, then current affairs, then the techniques, then the practice in the form of tests. Thank you.